Welcome back yet again to SIROWORLD 2016. I'm Dave Temple along with Bob Conte and John Pasicznyk, and we're talking about fracture toughness. You know this is one of my favorite topics of all time.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's sexy.
I'm telling you, I want to know, I mean, there's fracture toughness, and there's fracture toughness of chairside CAD CAM materials, right?
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
now
tell me,
you're talking.
Right?
That's a whole different kind of
So,
toughness.
Bob, can you roll it out for me?
Well, I guess in a very watered-down nutshell, one that general dentists like myself can grasp, we don't want our stuff to break. Okay, so a material with a higher fracture toughness is certainly appealing to us, because the last thing you want as a general dentist or any dentist is to have crowns break and have to remake them.
Right.
So our materials need to be pretty, easy to manipulate, but most importantly, they need to be strong.
Right.
And that's where fracture toughness comes in. Fracture toughness is the ability of a material to withstand force and crack propagation. So.
Because there's cracking. I mean, like for instance, I'm trying to think of if if you push something and it breaks, that's one thing. But yours is about angle, right? Either up or down. So there's
Exactly. So all ceramic materials inherently crack. They break a little bit because
Right.
they're glass. So there's microscopic cracks running through that glass. Fracture toughness is referring to the ability of the material to withstand that tiny crack from turning into a catastrophic failure where it breaks right in half.
Got it.
Yep. Yeah.
See, you made it so simple right there.
So did you ever try to cut a piece of wood and you get the axe stuck halfway down?
Yes.
And it just won't go any further?
Yeah.
That's fracture toughness or fracture
Oh.
resistance. You got in a little ways, but it didn't.
Got it.
Now, fracture toughness and strength in general is really a interesting concept because dentists, we are extremely interested in numbers,
Yes.
right? We want the highest number. So we say, if this number is good, I want more,
Right.
right? Well, that's good in theory, but we still need to use our materials properly. So that means having good sound principles of using the technology, using good techniques. So, right, Bob, wouldn't you agree that even though something may have a higher fracture toughness, that doesn't mean that you can cheat on the thickness of the material?
Right.
Right.
You still have to, at the end of the day, you have to be a dentist.
Yes. You have to be a
And-
dentist and make good decisions.
The strongest materials on the planet won't survive if it's not at a proper thickness. Okay? So our crowns need to be just thick enough based on the material we're using to withstand fracture.
So let me ask you what might be a silly question. If you just made the comment about if a dentist wants this, a dentist wants more.
Yep.
What's next? How do you get it? How does that fracture toughness get more?
Well, that's a good question for the engineers that are
Right.
making these materials. But
But I have to believe that if it wasn't that tough here, it's now 2016. It's tough here.
Yep.
So what's 2026? I mean, because we were talking earlier about Dentsply Sirona always being a step ahead,
Yep.
always progressing so quickly.
Yeah.
What do you suppose is next?
I don't think it's going to be so much a strength, but I think there's going to be other properties, other characteristics that are going to become more important. So maybe even more aesthetic materials.
Right.
Materials that possibly could be thinner.
We've got these materials now that we're able to get them to a reasonable thickness, have a very strong, good properties of strength and fracture resistance, but sometimes there's a trade-off in beauty. So the perfect material is very strong, has great fracture resistance, but is also wonderfully aesthetic. And that ceramic does not quite exist yet.
Yeah.
We're getting pretty close. But again, that's a job for the engineers. And who knows, maybe within this class of ceramic, it may never get to here. But we're okay with that. Because with good principles, we're getting excellent results here.
Got it.
Yep, you summed it up perfectly. You have to be a dentist. You still have to be a doctor that uses your knowledge and follows the rules. You can't break the rules and expect a different result.
What was the conversation I just had? And I shouldn't say this without my notes in front of me, but zirconia, lithium,
You got it.
siliconate?
Silicate.
Yeah, you're
you were
close.
so
CLS.
close. That was
Close,
good.
right?
That was good.
Okay.
That was really good.
I was sweating right there all of a sudden. my question is, that's pushed the new boundaries, right? I mean, I know zirconia has been around, they said 15 years, but this compound of two sources has made it more so. The transparency, rather
Opalescence.
opalescence. Okay, so that material wasn't fracture toughness that much back here, but it is now. So my question is, I'm trying to figure out how can we get that transparency or that opaqueness and still retain that strength?
Well, that's where, so we're crossing over from one type of material into another.
Okay.
So zirconia lithium silicate Celtra Duo is still a glass ceramic material.
Got it.
So that's what gives it the excellent aesthetics, the nice looks. When we're talking about a true zirconia material, that's where we lose the translucency. That's where we start to lose some of the aesthetics.
That's where that white core was always the
Super white.
Yeah.
Yep, super white no matter what. That's what zirconia gives you. So that's what the compromise is in this class of material. We're trying to find something that still has excellent strength but provides unbelievable aesthetics.
So what haven't we covered about fracture toughness that you would like to discuss? Because you are the specialist, Bob, on fracture toughness.
I am. Quite honestly, the studies that are out show Celtra Duo to be and to have the highest fracture toughness within its class. Okay. Unfortunately, this material being somewhat new, we're unable to have any long-term clinical studies. They're being developed. The results are wonderful. But honestly, we're doing clinical trials within our own practice, within our own patient population.
Wow.
So having data like that gives us more confidence to be able to deliver these restorations to our patients, knowing that, yes, we don't have a 10-year track record, but the 3-year right now is great, and the research backs it up. So
Cool.
Yep, exactly.
You made it so easy.
That's what we do.
What's your favorite thing about the show so far?
I love Seinfeld.
So good.
So good.
Branson.
Yeah.
That guy's a stud.
That guy
Unbelievable.
is just, he's pushing, talk about pushing the boundaries.
Unbelievable.
It was really just, I'm not saying, well, I guess it was an honor just to be there and to be able to listen to him. That's a once in a lifetime for us.
He's got fracture toughness.
He's got some major fracture toughness.
Gentlemen.
He's got 2 of them.
Yes. Thank you for being here. Taking a break. Back with more Zero World 2016 after this.